Mofaye, and this is your Frontier opening bell. We're back on Market Street, 42nd, our trading day. Quite a lot of grounds to cover, so let's just dive into the markets, as it were. Starting off the new week, the Nigerian stock market eked out just 3 basis points. The market is trying to get a bit stronger, as it were. Remember, Friday was just 4 basis points to the north. Yesterday we got Monday just 3 basis points in the green territory, roughly 60 billion added to the market value. The banking sector managed about 0.5% in the green. Their cousins insurance fell in the negative direction. Then you got a bit of one step in and out of the consumer goods and industrial goods. Oil and gas, not so much on Monday. So keep that in mind. The BRVM was sharply lower by roughly 0.75% in Cote d'Ivoire, but still holding the new 230 reading on the composite very strongly. The Egyptian market started the new week with the rest of the region on Monday, 73 basis points, 0.75%, taking the EGX 30 solidly around the doorsteps of 29,000 on the EGX 30. Then you got the NSE down by 0.81%, 107.73, while the GSE was led yesterday in the main by industrials and financials listed on the GSE. The resources index were a little bit negative. So you got 80,492 as investors came back, weighing some comments that the new administration of Cyril Ramaphosa is getting some things right in terms of the new cabinet, but the devil is always in the details of how it goes implementing its new economic direction under a unity government. So let's get on. Let's move on to East Africa. Of course, it's still being celebrated, the new Victoria Logistics, which was unveiled to support the oil movement or pipeline between Uganda and Kenya, that will ease the highway, the accidents and whatever traffic on the vehicular highways. Now, the new logistics is to move oil from Kenya inland into Uganda. That was formally flagged up by President Yoweri Museveni and others who are party to that particular deal, which is part of the East African Oil Pipeline project. If you take it north to the Horn of Africa, where Ethiopia's central bank announced the banks are now allowed to set up investment banks, stockbroking firms, and other capital market subsidiaries, all in the new reform of the financial markets being done under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's administration. Foreign bank deals in Kenya, however, the biggest economy within the region, was up by 48 billion shillings last year, while DRC is the number one destination in terms of profit for Kenya's bank, which has regional subsidiaries, big names such as KCB, as well as Equity Group. Let's move on, and where Kenya's electricity generation was up 6 months in the first quarter, January to March, because prices were dropped, as it were. That's because that's between KenGen and Kenya Power. And President Suluhu Hassan has reshuffled our cabinet. A few ministers, including the Foreign Office, is being shown the door. Let's come to West Africa and see a couple of headlines. Of course, diplomacy was thrown into the ring yesterday, an emergency meeting between Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, including the agencies within the Nigeria's oil industry, government agencies, as it were, the petroleum upstream, midstream, a regulator, as well as the NNPC and Dangote Refinery, with Aliko Dangote himself in the room. It's just about 6 men sitting around the table having diplomatic talk around how to resolve the very highly unusual face-off, public accusations and counter-accusations between Dangote Refinery and NNPC and NMDPRA regarding the size of NNPC equity, the quality of products that the new Dangote Refinery is pushing out, whether it's 45% completed, whatever that is. They're trying to put it up because it's beginning to hurt Nigeria as far as investment destination drive is concerned. Overnight, we got a statement credited to the EFDB president, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, who says the recent face-off between Dangote Refinery and government officials is in bad taste, leaving a bad taste in the mouth, and that's according to paraphrase the former Nigeria's Minister of Agriculture and the head of the EFDB. He says Nigeria needs all hands on board, and that investments such as Dangote's refinery, $20 billion, should be duly supported. In the meantime, the Center for the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, called a CPPE, has asked the central bank to hold interest rate, just as we're looking at 2 p.m. Nigerian time today for the decisions of the Monetary Policy Committee to be formally announced at the traditional press briefing by Cardoso, who is the central bank governor. Keep an eye on that. We'll report that for you later on Frontier Africa reports. And of course, you've got Dangote, according to news sources, that is having talks with Libya National Oil Corporation, the NOC, to import crude oil from Libya for the refinery at the backwaters of Lagos. And there's no clear path to Nigeria's Eurobond issuance yet in 2024. We're already in July, and that's according to market sources within the financial marketplace. And the Ghana stocks are rebounding. Look at it, they're bounding very strongly, including Monday on the comments from the IMF that the Nana Akufo-Addo's administration's economic reforms are working. So if we go to Southern Africa, what are the biggest news there? Of course, Sasol shares up 5% as coal exports. The shares went up mid-morning yesterday to start the new week because the company reporting coal sales up about 5% for its financial year ended June 2024. And Anglo Am Platinum is looking at listing on the London Stock Exchange after the spin-off from Anglo American. And President Ramaphosa has signed a new law that will allow savers access their pension funds, a little bit of that early enough, at least to give folks access to the money they already earn, that they put aside. Another ways to ease the current crunch on the economy and South Africa's asset. And Zambia says its copper output is likely to grow 1 million tons this year, or by 2027, because we've seen developments this year regarding some of the Vedanta, as well as a few others, who are increasing their stake in the Southern African copper business in Zambia. In the meantime, 1,300 from around about close to 20 countries around the world are pitching in Luanda, in Angola, for the country's international trade fair. That's starting today, July the 23rd, until the weekend. And Angola's Ministry of Finance that he sold about roughly $1.5 billion to 22 banks in the country since the start of the new year. Those are the headlines. You've been briefed. Let me take you to North Africa. Grab a couple of headlines as we start Tuesday. Egypt is planning 148 billion in shilling or Egyptian pounds in treasury bonds and T-bills for the current week. Wide Array and Development has launched the Voco Mall project in Cairo's new administrative capital. Is moving big business there, but that is where the new horizon is for Egypt, the biggest economy north of the continent. And Morocco's fiscal deficit narrows to about 3.4% by next year. That's expected on the paper by Fitch Ratings. And Morocco is investing about $172 million to turn the Draa Oasis into an ecotourism board. And those are your headlines from Frontier Africa Reports to Frontier Opening Bell, Tuesday, the 23rd of June. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.